Waiting. Good evening. I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds podcast, Waking the Dead Ghost Stories. Tonight, I have an amazing guest, the lovely Cassandra, who's been on Open Minds before in a different capacity. Um, However, before we go into Cassandra's ghost story, which is the murderous attempt by the lady in black, and I'm telling you, it even freaked me out reading it. However, um, this is the last show of the pilot podcast, 6-week podcast, and there was one ghost story that I was unable to get the guest to come on, and which was Laurie Cross's ghost story. So before we go to Cassandra's, I'm going to read out Laurie's ghost story, and me and Cassandra is going to have a little chat about it. Um, but before I even go there, I would like to thank everybody for supporting Open Minds Chat Show, and especially Waking the Dead Ghost Stories. We have had some fascinating personal ghost stories from all of you. And thank you for the audience that interact either live or on the replay, because everyone has a busy life now, and send me messages. It's been fantastic. I'm hoping to do the second series of Waking the Dead Ghost Stories later on in the year. As you know, I've been traveling to the Isle of Wight and setting up things over there. So I'm just putting some things on the back burner for a while. And new podcasts are coming up with different themes. So that's how it's going to roll. So let's start this evening. This is case number 6, and it's going to have 2. Before we go to Cassandra's, we will go to Laurie's. But before I even go there, I got to say, hi, Cassandra. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Gloria. Thanks for having me on again.
But this time, we're going to share your wonderful ghost story. So, how are you doing anyway?
I'm doing well. It's a new year that's just coming in with all sorts of surprises and wonders and amazing things that are happening, and I am extremely excited about it.
And she should be, because I know all her secrets. She's just told me. Hi, Rosemary Bygrave. Hi, Rosie's in the room. Right, so what we're going to do tonight, as I said, is the last show of the pilot series until later on in the year. We'll do some more. I'm going to start with the wonderful Laurie's ghost story. I would like you to sit back in your chairs, get your coffee, or if you drink nasty tea, get your tea, get comfortable, and listen to this one. This ghost story, Cassandra, is called The Pilot Who Didn't Know He Was Dead. Here we go. Laurie writes, back in 1983, I had just turned 20 years old, and I moved in with a friend who was living with her mum in a big house. My friend began to warn me about some things they witnessed in the house. She described things like the curtains moving in the kitchen area, rugs being all messed up, even after they were straightened out. Posters were being ripped off the wall right in front of their eyes. The laundry room was in the basement, and I always felt a sense of dread in the basement at this house, but I could not figure out why. I could never get up those stairs fast enough. I felt the cold spots and the chills every time I went down there. I'm going to ask you, Cassandra. Most people are going to say at this point, well, why do you keep going down there? Okay. I mean, when we watch these things on TV, don't go in the room. Why
I
don't you?
know.
We do it all the time.
Yeah.
However, personally, Laurie, kept going down there to the laundry room. Posters were being ripped off the wall, rugs are going everywhere, and the cold chills she got. Would you keep going down there?
Um, if I didn't know what I know now, hell no. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
just to put it simply, now I go to a laundromat if I needed to get my
Yeah.
clothes done.
I mean, I've had some guests on the show that moved out of their house because of the occurrences in the house. But anyway, I will continue. One morning, she woke up in her bed and she was shaking, as if someone were over. I'll read it in her words; it might come better. One morning, I woke up in my bed, shaking, as if someone was over me, shaking my bed, like rattling away. I opened my eyes, and after I woke up, I looked at the alarm clock on the nightstand dancing. The night clock was dancing, and witnessed it teetering back and forth. I rubbed my eyes in horror. What the fuck is going on? This is her words. I would say a lot worse than that. I'd be out of there. I spoke to my friend about what had happened, and she began to tell me her mother had been experiencing strange happenings as well. Her mother decided to call in a medium for some help. This was my first real interaction with a psychic medium. The woman was able to channel the man who owned the house before it was sold to my mum's friend. It's at this point, guys, I'm going to say to the audience, Spirit will do things like this to get hold of you, to get your attention. Okay. And when I continue with Laurie's ghost story, you are going to understand why. As much as we say, well, I'd get out of there. However, there's a reason that this occurs, and this is it. The medium shows up and cleanses the house with sage and prayer and lit many candles. She then began a meditation and she went into a trance. Suddenly, her voice changed. It sounded more of a male energy. Maybe it was a guide, I don't know. I was fascinated by this process. She began to state that the house was owned by an airplane pilot who was killed in a traffic accident on his way to work. He was killed instantly, but he was unaware he had died. He said that he was confused by the strangers who were living in his home. And where did his wife and children go? Why are they not here? This is a common phenomena when you have activity in the house. It's not because they're threatening, you haven't got demons, is some pass over and they have no idea that they've actually died. The medium began to tell him that he had died and that he was stuck in a limbo between the realms and that he no longer was part of the living. He was really confused by this situation. A few minutes later, she explained she would help him cross over and began a process of doing so. Then the room felt lighter and the energy seemed to clear in just a few short moments. The medium explained that he needed help leaving this earthly existence, and people do get stuck, especially if it's a short, quick death. We no longer experienced any more phenomena, and all the heaviness has lifted. I became fascinated from the point on and began my spiritual path. This was the catalyst that began my spiritual awakening that would go on for many years to come. And this incident helped me understand death and the death state and the process at a young age. That is my story. Isn't that wonderful, Cassandra?
Yeah. Now that she was thrown into that in a really mm, strong way.
Yeah,
So apparently she needed to wake up really, really fast
yeah.
so she could do whatever it is that she was supposed to do. And I don't feel it's just I'm be curious to see what she does now because I wouldn't be surprised if she does medium stuff.
She's a medium and she's awake.
Yeah,
She is aware of who she is because
right.
I've had many conversations with her. She knows who she is. She's got out of the way. I agree with you. I mean, on that aspect, she was thrown in the deep end and it just did it. Boom. And that
Right.
happens quite a lot. That
Yeah.
happens a lot. I read out a story a few weeks ago, and Christine, good evening, Christine. She's in the room tonight. And I always say to her, your spiritual awakening, because Christine is a fantastic medium, psychic medium. She's just, oh my God. And I said her ghost story set her off. She was a teenager and she was walking in a graveyard, as you do at night. And she lost her footing and fell down a freshly dug grave. Oh my God. I mean, don't. She knows I laugh because you can't make it up. And she was screaming for help. And the humans never come to help her, but all the spirit world did. She had all these arms coming out. I mean, it scared her absolutely shitless. And she's still a bit funny with graveyards. However, I said to her, that was your catalyst. That was your catalyst. Boom. And she is an excellent medium now. So I agree. But going back to, people ask about, I went to a house recently, and I'm a rescue medium. I don't like the word cleansing. I go in and I rescue either the medium inside the person, or if the spirit there does need to have an understanding where it's gone to. And, when I went over there, the lady of the house was quite petrified. And I did the walkthrough and I said, there is nothing negative here at all. Half of it's in your mind. And there are spirits around you, blah, blah, blah. So it's about educating people. Not that I'm an educator, but all of us, showing that things are not always what they seem. And if spirit needs help or wants to get your attention, it will move things and rip posters off the wall and zap you with cold air. I mean, it's common knowledge, isn't it? Not, is it not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That it's the I need to do this. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it in the most um, um, eye-catching way, and
Yeah,
then maybe they'll do something about it.
yeah,
They're just asking. I mean, not all of them are asking. Some of them are actually living there. So it's like they see their house as it used to be, and they're walking through it and
yeah,
everything.
yes.
So they don't realize, that they're dead. They're still living in that parallel universe.
Absolutely. It's there. It's just like he's saying, why are you in my house? He didn't what he's asking, why are these people in the house? And he's ripping off the posters and moving the mats. This is he had no understanding, he had no
Right.
awareness that because he passed so quickly that
Right.
he had actually physically died. So I agree with you there. I totally agree with you on that one. It's I thought I had to read it out because it's an educational ghost story, one for anyone
Yeah.
interested in mediumship and, anyone that's even the skeptics, but two, as you rightly said, for Laurie, and as she said, it was a catalyst
Yeah.
to her awakening to who she was and led her on the journey. Good evening, Maxine. Hi. Right. Now, young lady, we're going to the second ghost story of the evening. And this ghost story is Cassandra's. It's called The Murderous Attempt by the Lady in Black. I'm going to read the first paragraph and then hand it over to Cassandra. Well, I'm going to set the scene. Right, we got some feedback. I'm going to move my phone away from the laptop. Have you got a phone near your laptop or anything electrical? Or is it just me?
No, I do. I'll move it off to the
Move
side
it
though.
on. There again, it could be the spirit world. If they choose to come in and play, they will play.
That's true.
Yes, they've done that a lot to me,
Yeah.
especially on the show. Right, so I'm going to set the scene and hand it over to Cassandra. I always knew the house I grew up in was haunted as a young child. If I was home alone, the whole area would turn cold. I would feel something in the house with me, and I found myself outside sitting on the porch steps, waiting for someone else to come home. Over to you, Cassandra.
Well, um, I I want to really talk about the cold spots. So in a bedroom that I was in, it was so cold in there. I mean, it's almost like you could see your breath. That's how cold it was.
Uh-huh.
And where I got the idea, I can't remember how I got this, but I was a kid. I got this idea that dead people were buried in the walls. That's why it was so cold in there.
Okay.
And, I'm sitting around and I'm by myself and I'm, hearing these things and knowing someone's there. And one night I go to bed and I am in a bedroom with two single beds. My sister's in the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping just very soundly. And then all of a sudden, I hear something because we had a folding door that was for the bedroom. So I heard it open.
Mm-hmm.
And I just opened my eyes just a little. I mean, just like slits, because I was like, who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I didn't think it was someone I knew because otherwise I would have just, looked at him and said, hey. But I opened my eyes just a little bit and I saw this person, and I want to say it's a female, standing in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dressed in all black. It was like a cloak, so she had a cloak with the hat on, and, the rest of it was black.
Uh-huh.
And I'm laying there. I know I was kind of petrified, but I thought if I closed my eyes, of course, it'd go away. But I kept my eyes open a little bit. And then I see this person walking toward me. So
Mm-hmm.
she's in between me and my sister's bed. And then the next thing I know, my pillow is being pulled out from underneath my head.
Oh
And
God.
oh, yeah, it's being pulled out from underneath my head. And then it's placed over my face.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. And I'm lying there. I won't move. I won't say anything. I don't even think I was breathing. Um, I didn't feel anything pressed down on my face, but that pillow, I remember that pillow being over my face.
Okay.
And I was just laying there, and I don't know how long, how much time passed. It could have been minutes, but I finally had the courage to take the pillow off of my face and see if somebody was still in there. But there's no one there. They were gone. And I've never been able to get that out of my mind because to this day it still haunts me. I mean, there are sometimes I hold on to my pillows when I'm sleeping.
God. I mean,
I,
I would. I mean, come on, hold on. Let's just hold it there a second. I
yeah,
mean, we we hear of spirit doing things to get our attention. This seems extremely drastic, does it not? But I've got to say, the pillow was on your face, but you didn't feel any pressure. No,
not that I remember, no. Like I
thank
wasn't struggling.
thank God for that. That's all I can say. I got to ask you, um, have you over the years since? I mean, that's scary shit. That's a scary movie, yeah. Have you ever worked out what the message was? I mean, I've just said, come on, there's always a reason for everything. What do you think was going on?
Oh, wow. I've never asked myself that. Um,
And did you ever check? Here's another one. Did you ever check if people were buried in the walls? I
no,
mean, it
no.
just
And you know what the funny thing is I bought the house I grew up in when I got married.
the same house.
Same house.
You well, hold on. So this house. Oh, no, hold on. A woman of intelligence here.
Yeah.
Let's let's start. You're in the childhood home. You're becoming aware somehow that there's dead people buried in the walls. Okay. You're in bed one night, you see the lady in black and comes towards you with a, we call it the murderous attempt, and takes the pillow from under your head, puts it on your face. And after all of that, and that haunts you forever, you went back and bought the house. Do go on.
Well, yeah, it was my first house.
Had you
And
forgotten?
I had not forgotten. I hadn't forgotten about feeling someone was there. And right now, when you had said what was the lesson or whatever,
Yeah,
what was the catalyst? Because I remember, and I don't even know how I got into this, um, other than the fact that when I grew up, like I had told you, that it was a satanic home.
yeah,
So this could have been my mom walking in there in her garb, for
yeah.
rituals. Um, but I don't know how I knew to do these things, but I would actually go into the basement. That's always
Another
fun.
one.
I would go into the basement and I would be with my friends and I'd say, okay, we're going to have a seance or we're going to protect ourselves. And I mean, I was still in grade school. So around fifth, sixth grade is when I
Yeah.
was doing this.
So how old was that? You're different in American schooling. How old would you be?
Probably you start at 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 or 9.
Okay, okay.
And I was doing this, everybody knew that I knew how to do this, my friends.
Yeah,
And for some reason, everybody was afraid of me. So, I didn't say I'm going to put a curse on you or whatever, but I don't know. Obviously, I picked it up somewhere,
yeah,
but I also picked up how to protect myself.
yeah.
Again, was it because my guides were there and showing me how to do this?
Mhm,
Uh, was it because the one day that I found myself locked in a basement, that it wasn't my basement?
mhm,
I'm in this basement all by myself again, a kid,
mhm.
um, and I'm waiting, for someone to let me out of this basement. And it wasn't like someone was playing a joke on me. It was I was there for a reason,
Mhm.
being going to be taken out. And I remember I was sitting there in this basement and this angel appeared.
Mhm.
And I called her Angel Light. So she appeared and she was talking to me. And I started seeing these things. I didn't realize that I knew how to see these things or how to do these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I had my near death, then that was a catalyst to get me really jump started into doing what I
I'm
was
with
supposed to do.
I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. Pause it there for 1 second because I don't know about anyone that's either listening now or will listen on the replay. I got to ask you, you went back and bought this house.
Yes.
Did anything happen when you moved back in?
No,
Not at
that
all.
was the weird part, and I don't know if it was because I was, um, more strong in myself
Mhm.
or older. I think I was 20 when I bought that house.
Yeah,
Not much older, but I was
yeah,
20. And I just remember that that bedroom, of course, was still cold, and I didn't sleep in it. I used it for like an office or something. It was a 3 bedroom, so I slept in the larger one,
yeah,
and I had no problem going in the basement. I didn't have to sit out on the steps anymore. And I'm wondering though if that was because when I was older, growing into teenage years,
yeah,
uh, I had clouded that part of my brain that was being able to see things, feel things, and hear
yeah,
things.
Yeah.
because anytime, well, not everyone does this, but most of the time when you grow up in an abusive family, you turn
Hmm.
to drugs, you turn to alcohol,
Yeah.
to, just escape. And that's what I did when I was in um, high school. So I turned to drugs and alcohol big time. So when I moved into that house, I think what it was doing was blocking whatever was there.
I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I've got a, it could be another thing. It could be, I always say, you know, my perception of a certain of the hauntings and things that go on is, if anyone in the home is, let's say, up to low vibrational things,
Hmm.
you're going to attract them straight in. They're going to come, just like the spirit world. When a medium turns, the switch on, I'm open. The spirit world, just come in. Me. I got a message, yeah. And that's on the higher vibrational one. So you got, if someone's playing around with low vibrational stuff because they choose to do so, you're going to attract the low vibrational experiences and spirits, are you not?
Right, right.
So it could be with your parents and everything going on at the time, that could have been a catalyst for attracting such things, would you say? Or
Oh, of course, yeah, because the house was haunted. I mean,
yeah,
I was a kid. I remember running out and sitting on the steps, and it was like October, and it was cold. But I
yeah,
wasn't going to go back in that house until somebody else came home.
yeah, yeah. So I think, and this goes the other part of this is where we say, well, what could all these things be? It could be, or it could be residue energy.
Right.
Um, I had a couple of guests on, and one of them, I can't remember the name of the guest, bless her, but unbeknown to her, um, there'd been murders in the house,
Oh my God.
things. And so the residue, the energy is still there. You can have that as well.
Yeah.
Um, there are many reasons this happens, but it's just like, it's true. We do these irrational things like what we've just heard Laurie do, yeah. um, or you go and buy the house that you couldn't even stay in. Dead people buried in the wall, and you've got this lady in black trying to smother you, and you go, "Oh, I'm going to buy that house and go back in." However, you didn't sleep in that bedroom. Um, but it's all part of the human experience, is it not? To experience all these things. I mean, that is a scary, scary ghost story. I mean, one thing, I mean, you guys in America, you still have these basements. And
Yeah.
I grew up, obviously in London. We had basements then. So we was in a big Victorian house. But nowadays, they don't build houses with basements no more. So there's a lot of good in that, I think. But I love houses with basements.
Oh yeah.
I just adore them. Even though the basement in our house was used for nefarious things against children, I still have the thing for basements. And Rosie was in the group tonight. We both love Victorian houses with basements. We want basements for them. And when
At it.
you hear of all these stories of what goes on, I'm just like that person says, no, don't go there. Yeah, I'm going there. But I suppose that must have been you buying the house that had the dead people in the wall and the ghost trying to suffocate you.
Who the hell knows why um, I did that? I don't. I have no idea. But
Mm,
obviously, there is a reason for it. There's a reason for everything. Um,
yeah,
but I know that it was an experience. Let me tell you that much. I didn't like being there by myself
no,
at all.
no. I mean, it's just like, it's a case every time I move to a new home, and I've moved quite a bit in the last few years. And every time I go in, the first thing I do is sage, and
Oh
I
yeah,
I do
yeah,
the walkthrough. I do the walkthrough, boom, 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 because of the experiences of the spirits when I was younger,
right.
and I mean, I was blessed that the spirits with me never harmed me, but there were nefarious things going on in the house by the adults. So, and I another thing I agree with you. I felt like I had protection all the time, and I would say it was the dead that protected me. The dead kept me going. They do tell me don't call us dead. We're not dead, and I apologize for that to the spirit world. The spirits, the
Yeah.
spirits. And I had a similar experience in such a childhood. The spirits were the ones that kept me going. So I've got to ask you, so no experiences when you move back in. So either one, you could say, where you blocked it out with drugs and alcohol, or you could say your parents weren't in the house no more. So the house, the energy moved. It could be that, could it not?
It could be, sure. And it went with them.
It went with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
It followed them wherever they went.
right.
And that's been known to happen. But I mean, that's scary. I mean, out of the 6 weeks of this pilot series and the ghost stories I've spoken, I mean, Christine's always got me because I could, because as a child, being who I was always taking my friends to play in the graveyard. And thank God I never fell in an open grave.
Yeah.
And I used to think it was fun to say, "Oh, let's talk to this person," and they would all fucking run and freak out. And I think if I'd had an experience like Christine had, I don't know what that would have done to me, or an experience like you had. I mean that is just like it's just I can't even imagine. But there again, here comes the rationale. You go and bought the house. It's not
Yeah.
Has since you've left that house now, have you had any other ghost stories since, or is it quietened down now from those type?
It's really interesting because right now I don't have so much ghosts as
Hmm.
I have ETs.
Ah, well, they're coming in together with the spirits now, and that is another common phenomena. Yeah, we're getting ETs and spirits together because they're one. Yes, I get that. In the house,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
yours has shifted as well.
It has, and when you have an animal, um, that's when you know because I was at a house a couple of years ago that I rented, and I'm sitting in the living room and my dog runs into the kitchen and she starts barking at the space where the refrigerator was and the little space and then the countertop. So she
Yeah,
starts barking in that space and I'm like, oh shit. So being me, I she wasn't afraid, but I just went over there and took my camera and I said, say cheese. And I started taking pictures. And
yeah,
you can see the outline of these beings.
yeah.
So they were there, but they also could not come into my bedroom at night. So they weren't the best beings around because my dog would lay on the end of the bed and growl,
Yeah.
out into the dark. She
I'm
just
glad you caught a picture. I think it was last year. It was summertime, and I don't know. I think I was on Zoom or something. I was doing something, and I looked across the room. And normally, because I'm a contactee, so like I go on craft and all that sort of stuff. And this was a first for me. And in the medium, when I was doing mediumship, I was going in Zoom rooms. I stopped because I was getting dimensional beings and spirit at the same time. And these beings, their energy was just really taking over, like, move over, we're coming through. So
yeah.
I had to stop the spirit reading, which wasn't my forte because I'm a rescue medium, but because they were so powerful. And so I shifted the energy, and I had, the normal contact experiences as you do. But then one day I was sitting here where I am now, and I looking across the room, and through the wall, this cream. It looked like a grey, but it was cream. It was cream color, started to appear through the front wall, and I'm sitting here consciously looking, and it's coming through the unit, and I'm looking, as you do, this ain't fucking real. This is so not happening. You know, I'm going crazy. You always do it, no matter how many times you experience it. And I said, stay there. I'm going to take a picture. Do you know what? I swear to God, you said, say, and I took a picture, and I got him on camera. I got sure of it. And that was the first for me. So, you know, I got to say, sort of very with tongue in cheek, I wonder if they're getting a bit, vain. They say, okay, here we go.
No, I think they have no problem showing themselves because it helps other people, to tell you the truth. When I started drawing them, it was because people won't get so freaked out when they actually see them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You were saying something, and go ahead, because I'm trying to remember what it was. Anyway.
I don't know what I was saying now. You've totally thrown me. We're both gone.
I know, we're both totally blank, which is not good on a radio show.
Oh,
so,
it's my show. We can do what we want. It's my
true.
No, but we can go back to the ET and spirit together. As I said, it is happening a lot, and my understanding is they're one. I had an amazing discussion I have a couple of groups, and the guys in the group are just really amazing. Not only amazing mediums, but they really do come out eventually with the deep questions. And we raised what you've just spoke about. And one of them, Rosie, said, well, what if when this vessel passes, the spirits inside goes the other side, but before it come here, it was already ET, yeah? So ET come here to have a human experience. Yeah, it went so deep for a few weeks. And so when the physical experience is over with, then the ET will experience the spirit realm of the 3D human experience. Does that make sense to you? Yeah?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. Yeah,
and so that could be why they're coming in now together, so to speak.
Right.
What do you think about that one?
When you're talking about it, I'm visualizing or getting pictures of what you're talking about. Obviously, it's extremely possible to have that happen now. I never actually thought about it like that, but it's just another way to, open your mind and look at what's going on. I always like to just sit there and ask them, is this what's going on or not? And because we can come up with all kinds of ideas, or just saying this is, what's going on, and this is how it's going to happen. It's good to sit around and talk about it, but it's also better if we can use our own intuitive gifts to just ask. Like when you saw that being coming or materializing through the wall, you didn't ask for anyone to show up. They just did. Just think of
Yeah, they did. I didn't ask. And that's been I must admit, in childhood, it was a very common phenomena to walk through the walls in childhood. But like you, obviously you get to teenager, I didn't do sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I did alcohol. I was a hammered teenager to try and stop everything happening. But yeah, and I think we do. But that, for me, reminded me of when I was a child. And I could sense the joy and the fun in the play of saying, I'm coming through the wall. I have a strange feeling. I was talking to someone prior about something about them or something, and I think it was an answer to that. Here we are. And I'm more likely saying, can anyone get a picture? I think I was looking at pictures, people. That was it. I do recall now. In the group, they're really great. The guys in there, they see in pictures everything, and I am like 0 point. I see jack shit in photographs. Yeah,
I see a lot of things in pictures.
I'm just it's not in my programming. Normally, it's not in my programming. And there was a lot of pictures, and they see faces, they see ET. Yeah, they do all that. And I say, well, that's your field. My field is different. Okay, so that's fine. You're experiencing yours. And I think it was round about them discussions. And I was saying, well, I've never got a picture. And the amount of ET I've experienced, you think
Yeah.
in a lifetime. So it was something like that. And I think that's why this being come through the wall. You could see the bloody eyes moving. It was like, oh my God. And I was in such joy. I couldn't believe it. I said, I'm going to take a picture. And it just stayed there. And I did it. So I
Now,
think that's how my communication goes. I start thinking something and then it just appears for me to experience it. But yeah,
that
go
I
on.
know what I was going to say. You were talking about pictures, and
Mm,
one of the things that I did, and this was, of course, back then before cell phones, um, but as an adult, do you remember Polaroid
yeah,
cameras?
oh God, yeah, I remember. I'm old enough, love.
Okay. Well, I remember when, after I got my first divorce, I got the house, yay. And I went out and bought a pack of film.
Hmm.
And I remember standing in one bedroom and saying, if anyone's here, why would I be doing this? But anyway, if anyone's here, go ahead and show up. And I take a picture
Hmm.
with a camera, with a Polaroid, and just stand there and wait for it to develop.
Yeah,
And that's another thing, when we
yeah,
have spirits around,
yeah.
cell phones are perfect. Just take a picture
Just
and
keep taking I agree. You've just reminded me, Rosie again. I'm shouting out her name a lot tonight. Sorry, Rosie. She just purchased a house on the Isle of Wight, and after research, we found it was an old Victorian pub, and they found the picture, and we all shared the picture, and we're looking at the picture. And as I said, I normally see jack shit. I think they saw a lady in a veil in the picture in one of the windows, and I said, well, I can't see nothing, but I don't have an issue with that. Okay, it's fine. It's enough seeing dead people. I mean, spirits. I mustn't use that word.
yeah,
Um, bugger me last week. Well, I don't know when it could have been when I was on the Isle of Wight. I think when I was on the Isle of Wight last week, the picture come up again. Oh, we were at the house. That was it. We were at this house. It's been renovated, back to Victorian. And I did a little group there. There was a family there. There were spirits already there, and we went all through that. Everything was fine, whatever. Looked at the picture because we're trying to work out, believe it or not, where is the basement? Okay, because it had been all concreted in, so we're working on it. And I looked at the picture. I could not believe it. And each window was packed with spirits in the picture. And I went, I can't fucking believe it. I can see. I think because I was in the house and I called them in, I spoke with them and called them in. I had Rosie and
right,
it was a medium as well, but I couldn't believe it. In one window, the man with the top hat, there was the next one, clear as day. They looked like a group of people looking out the window.
right,
And
right.
it wasn't there before.
Well, and
Wasn't.
you'd mentioned renovation, so renovations can really stir up some
Yeah,
spirit.
absolutely. I mean, I think it must have, all the clientele of the pub must have been in there.
Oh, yeah, it could have been that too because it was probably a happy place,
Yeah,
Not everyone who dies goes immediately into the light. They want to stay where it's
yeah,
familiar, or they
yeah,
have a family that they don't want to leave or they want to watch over.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, they stick around, and
Oh,
that,
it's a happy pub. It's a happy house.
yeah,
When we I sort of go through a walkthrough, there was one area, part of the front part of the shop. I went, oh, I'm not going in there yet. The energies were too low in the house, so we went in there and we started talking and grounding and protection and started laughing. I mean, that raises any frequency. I was joking, actually, being quite explicit, I think, if I remember. Anyway, and it raised it up, said, right, let's go back in that area. We went in there and the three of us picked up. It was a lovely fat guy with an apron on the bar. moving the barrels, his wife, 2 children, and a bloody dog.
Oh,
And
wow.
anyway, the long and short of it is, I said to them, do you want to go? Be happy that these are here, and they're happy to, they're quite happy if you want to stay, spirit, to stay. They have no issue with it. And I said, are you going to stay? And he went, no, not quite yet. And then Laura picked up, we're going to have some fun. They want to see the laughter. They want to see the house come alive again with the laughter and the love, and the fun times. And it's exactly what you just said. That's what the spirits wanted. They're just
Yeah.
going to hang around a bit longer. They can come and go whenever they want. They're not trapped or nothing like that.
Right.
They're waiting for the house to become a home again, a family again, and to giggle and laugh and obviously have a few drinks. So we're going to have a few drinks when she moves.
Yeah. You
and
know
take-
that is there the difference between the spirits who want to stay because they know they want to stay, they're aware of this, they know that they've died and they want to stay, or
yeah.
the ones who have died suddenly and don't know what the hell they're doing?
It's a bit like, that's why I say, and I agree with what the group are coming up with at the moment. I mean, we don't know any truth. We just keep talking, and that's how we awaken and expand. But I think the spirit world, the ones that don't know they've died, that they've transitioned. I must stop using that word because they don't like it. We are not dead. They get that all the time. We are not dead. It's part of the human experience. But when you are here experiencing life, you're going to get the same type of people, aren't you, in certain things? So I don't know. It's, I don't think I'm dead yet. And this is Sixth Sense. And you're trying to tell me, Cassandra, you're dead.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes so deep. I think, am I dead? And this is, I'm waiting for Bruce
Yeah.
Willis. Am I dead? And someone, and because that's what I do as a rescue medium. That's what I do. And sometimes it's like, maybe I'm dead.
Well, you've seen the movie. I can't remember the name of it, but the whole premise was the psychologist was talking to the little kid, and
that's Sixth Sense. Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And he was the one dead going through all this.
Exactly.
That just gives me chills. I remember at the end of it, because I was quite bored with the movie. It's like, is something going to happen? And then at the end, that's what they said. And I went, okay, got it. That was worth it.
I mean, I've watched that film so many times, and I often wonder, have I transitioned? And it's just a fucking joke. It's part of the experience. But I think it's the spirit world, ET world, is part of the 3D reality, which means it has to be logically part of the human experience, because we wouldn't experience it otherwise. So, yeah, I think ones that don't know they've passed, I mean, they say if they die quick or something like that, or they've got something to resolve, I don't know. I don't think I'm there at the moment. I could be in the spirit world now. We're having this conversation, and I've already gone. Yeah, and you've passed too, and we're just. And that's the fascination I have with mediumship and with everything esoteric and paranormal, because you just don't know. You just don't know. I mean, looking at your Lady in Black, I mean, when I think about it and I'm trying to sort of get my mindset around it, the fact is she didn't put any pressure on your face. Maybe she wanted to kill you, and maybe her energy wasn't strong enough. But normally, I don't know. Normally, with the lower vibrational, the angry spirits, they're powerful. So I don't think she was a powerful negative experience, because she could have done a lot worse than just do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember asking. I think I asked my sister.
Yeah.
Did she see anyone come into the room? And no, of course I didn't. I don't even know if I asked my mom or not, but I remember it. It's just something that you don't forget. And like I said, to this day, I sleep clutching my pillow.
Mm, mm.
So I always have to have covers up around my neck because of vampires. Go figure.
Oh,
So
I mean, the vampire is normal. We all of us, and it seems many mediums as well has this vampire thing. I mean, I remember. I don't know what you have in America. I was raised on Vincent
yeah,
Price's, vampire films. I don't know if you had them out there, and everything was vampires was going to get you at night. I mean, it was like we couldn't. Again, when we say to people, don't turn on the light when you're watching a film, don't do this. We do exactly as they do. We just have to do it.
yeah,
And these vampire films, Vincent Price was so convincing as a vampire. I was still watching it again and again, but I was scared of vampires. And what do they say? Vampires aren't real, but I believe they were, because when I was going around talking to spirits and no one could see them, they told me they weren't real and diagnosed me with schizophrenia. So I thought, well, if spirits are real, then vampires has to be real.
yeah.
And you know what happened once?
What?
One night I woke up, I had this really like weird dream and I couldn't recall it. But I had two puncture marks on my neck. I thought, hello, I was like,
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Oh
So
my
no doubt I must have scratched myself. It's amazing what fear would do when when you're younger. Um, what you can actually, as I said, you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. I mean, if Christine fell down in the grave now, she wouldn't be so scared.
right,
Or
right,
if a spirit come again to you're not so scared now, are you?
right.
It's part of the process of introducing us maybe in a very scary way to the spirit world and life beyond. So
Yeah,
is it all quiet in the new house you got now?
very quiet. Yeah, this house, the minute I walked in, I knew it was mine. It said, yes, we've been waiting for you.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
it's very quiet in here, and Christy doesn't lay on the end of the bed and growl. So that's always fun. You have a dog laying on the end of the bed, looking out the bedroom door into the dark living room and growling. And I'm
Mm,
like, oh. So if anything comes about, which I don't think I've had anything like that, I always get upset now and I tell them to knock it off because they're scaring my dog.
yeah,
And that, it stops immediately.
yeah, yeah. I think that's another good point you raised there. Which when I teach in classes is that you are in control of all your experiences and you
Right.
choose whether you experience or not. I mean, as a medium, I try desperately to switch it off most of the time, but sometimes it's just too strong and I can't. However, you can say, step back, you can say, please leave respectfully, don't do this. And you have the power to do it if you choose not to experience it. For me, there's nothing, even though I've had in childhood some real scary experiences, um, there is nothing to fear if you
Right.
understand what you're dealing with. And I do think a lot of the cases that poltergeists and demons, it's really someone's interpretation, normally with a religious background, I would say. Um, but the fact is, these things occur to get your attention, like the airline pilot, the earlier ghost story.
Yeah.
He's died. He's living his normal life in his house, wondering what are these strange people doing here, and where's his wife and
Mhm.
kids, and that's sad.
It
And
is. It
I
is.
would say, as a rescue medium, you have to treat the spirit the same as you would a living being, with the compassion and understanding with any trauma. Um, and that's the way I perceive it. But I do love a good ghost story.
I went into my friend's house one time. She said, "We're having a lot of crap going on here." I said, "Okay, I'll come over and see what's going on." And um, it was you. I think you had said something about in the Victorian house, the family was all
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
the same thing. When I found these people, it was a mom, a dad, two kids, and I think they had their dog with them too.
yeah,
And when I got their story, honestly, I started crying when I got
Mm,
their story. It was
mm,
so sad how they had died,
mm.
and how they knew they were all together, but they didn't know what else to do.
Yeah,
And that's when I, of course, showed them the way.
mm,
But it was very sad. So a lot of these spirits who are around and making, trying to get your attention or are doing whatever, I think it's because they're lost.
yeah.
A lot of them are lost. It's like, where am I? What am
Mm.
I doing? It's not like you can ask Siri, hey, where am I at this moment?
But
But
you're right. No, you're definitely right. I mean, you look, if anyone's had, um, whilst they're, playing the role of the human being, if anyone's had a traumatic experience, you get post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, the ramifications cloud everything, and you need help, healing, someone to talk, someone to listen to you. Yeah,
Mhm.
so for me, it's only logical that if someone's died from horrific passing or sudden death or something, but some may have. I know it sounds really off the bat, but post traumatic stress disorder. I know it happens. Spirits do that. They carry on. It is the film The Sixth Sense, as if
Right.
they go on, and they literally don't know that they've actually transitioned to the spirit dimension, um, and they're still living their human experience and have no awareness. But you can imagine the panic in your house with your kids, and then they're gone, but someone else is in your house.
Right.
Even as a spirit, the consciousness is there. You're still having the human experience, but in a spirit form. You're still going through the process. Imagine how scary that must be to go through that
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
It must be horrific. And I think if we more of us looked at it that way, you know, I always say if something goes, in the latter, obviously the last few decades, I say, well, you've got my attention. What is it? What is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
What do you want to say? Who are you? And I'm here, but just don't make that. Don't do that. Just
Right.
don't. I mean, I had a case once. I was in my bedroom and it shouted audibly, like as if someone was in the room. Gloria, it was a male voice. It really scared me shitless. And I
Yeah.
went, don't fucking do that again. If you don't do it that way,
Yeah.
just and that never happened again that way,
Yeah.
that way. So it can be scary, but I got to ask you, Cassandra, why do we love ghost stories? Why do you think it is? We're scared of them. We
Right.
sleep with lights on. We hold on to our pillows. We cover our necks up in case the vampires get them. Even as adults that are aware of who we are, what is it that we have this fear, but we love listening to them?
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that, they say, well, people love to be scared. Well, yeah, but they love to be scared and be in control.
Yeah,
So that I feel is what the whole thing is. They know they're listening to a ghost story. They know they're going to a scary movie. So
yeah,
that they're in control. They
yeah, yeah,
don't like it when, the spirits do something and they feel totally out of control. That's not fun. That's not
yeah.
scary.
That's true.
So I think it's a control issue. It's like, yeah, I know this movie's going to be over, and then
I can turn it off if I want to.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I can turn it off if I want to. But
right,
yeah, I mean, for anyone listening that's never experienced a spirit, um, I don't know. I don't think I'd be who I am today if I hadn't experienced them. But I love the ghost stories, and it's quite sad. The pilot season is completed with six episodes. Um, and I will be bringing this podcast back later on in the year, because I find other experiences, when people share their ghost stories, I like relate it all to mine, and it's like, I don't know what it is. Why do we love hearing it and sharing it? I don't know. I think because I'm curious of life experiences. I'm curious of other people's experiences, especially, if they've had something similar to what I've had. Because how did they interpret it? How did they overcome it? I mean, it's about communication. So whether we're alive or transitioned, I mustn't use that word.
Hmm.
Maybe for me, it's I'm curious how someone's reacted or responded to an experience. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just for me. It's just that. Maybe it is control as well. But I don't watch horror movies no more. I do not watch vampire movies no more. I can't tolerate vampire movies. Vincent Price ones I could hack, yeah, because it was the suspense of what could happen. But the ones that are out today, it's just
Yeah.
barbaric, you know, ugh, disgusting filth. But they're not proper vampire stories. I've got to say thank you so much, Cassandra. I mean, completing the series with me. I mean, your ghost story is fantastic. Um, and thank you for everyone that supported Open Minds podcast, Waking the Dead Ghost Stories. I'm not returning for a few months with this series. However, if you do have a ghost story or a paranormal experience, okay, which could include ET, please email me at openmindspodcast@outlook.com. And thank you, Cassandra. It's been awesome. I love chatting with you. It just goes organic and we just go off on one. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Okay, everybody. Thank you for supporting and watching the show. I'm Gloria. This is Open Minds Podcast, Waking the Dead, the last of Series 1. Until next time we meet, email me your ghost stories. Bye, guys.